I'm Father Bob Stokig, rector of the Guardian Angel Cathedral in Las Vegas, Nevada, coming to you with another of our weekly reflections on the Sunday readings, this for the fourth Sunday of Lent in March of 2021. How has your Lent been going for you so far? Have you done what you set out to do? Is your heart more open, closer to God's grace? Wherever you find yourself on the spectrum, it's a great week again to take stock as we wind down the beginning of the end of Lent, this fourth Sunday of Lent. In the first reading, we learn something extraordinary about God's mercy. God chooses unlikely people. In Chronicles, we learn that after the anger of the Israelites erupts and the temple is destroyed, God chooses Cyrus, a foreigner, a non-Jew, to be the instrument to bring about the rebuilding of the temple. It's a prefiguring of how God continues through all of the scriptures to choose unlikely people. Think of Moses, whom God chooses to tell Pharaoh, "Let my people go," a shepherd who stuttered. Think of Jeremiah, who says he's too young, or Jonah, who runs away from God and sets sail to avoid his call. God always seems to choose the unlikely, and so too in Christ Jesus, who many of the people of his time thought should be a vanquishing military leader who would free Israel from the oppression of the occupation of the Romans. In the Gospel of John, which we hear again this week, we have this saying of Jesus that's really a visual metaphor for the whole gospel. He talks about when the Son of Man is lifted up. And in the Gospel of John, it's very much like what in the days of photographic film we would call a double exposure. You remember those days when if you didn't advance the film before the next shot, you'd get two shots on top of each other? Most of the time, those would end up in the trash. In the Gospel of John, though, in a literary way, we're clear from almost the very beginning of the Gospel that the death and resurrection of Jesus are joined like a super double exposure. In our Catholic life, that leads us into what we call the Paschal Mystery. The passion and death lead to the resurrection. They're of one piece. And while the whole of our lives can be seen as having that imprint of the Paschal Mystery, so too do the moments in our lives of smaller order when we need to die to self in order to be reborn to something new, something more than we could imagine. As Lent begins to wind down then, I invite you to think about that Paschal Mystery in your own life and experience. Where are you waiting for those signs of resurrection? Where have you been called to die to self so that there is more room for God's grace to blossom in your heart? As you do so, please know you and your families are kept in our prayers here at the Guardian Angel Cathedral. We hope you're keeping well, and we invite you to keep us in your prayers as well as we journey through the Paschal Mystery toward Holy Week and the celebration of Easter.